Choose the Euros. Choose chasing the dream. Choose Scotland. Choose excitement. Choose the joy of being there. Choose a trip to Germany. Choose pints of premium lager and sing-songs. Choose retro tops and matching luggage. Choose bratwurst and schnitzel. Choose injuries to key players. Choose 5-1 defeats. Choose getting smashed in disappointment and red card tackles. Choose a back four over a back five. Choose Swiss bliss and a draw that raises hopes again. Choose last match redemption. Choose the opportunity to be legends. Choose reality and Armstrong being denied a Stonewall penalty. Choose life as a Scotland fan and the inevitable last-minute sucker punch. Choose going home early again and much like Mario Balotelli asking why always me. The Titan Army said it themselves, no Scotland, no party, yet the show must go on without them. The lights are up and the DJ's called it a night. The Scotland fans have headed for the exits. But who should we choose going forward? Is it Steve Clarke or is it someone else? Joining me today on Salmon's Pizzeria to discuss this and much more are two guests. Returning, I'm delighted to say, is Jenna. Jenna, how are you doing?
Fabulous as always.
Brilliant stuff. And for the first time, we've got Paul, a resident Killy fan. Paul, how's things going, mate?
I'm good, sure. Yourself?
Yes, well, yeah, as good as could be. I feel like we said this last time as well when me and Jenna were on. It's you've just come off the back of utter disappointment, haven't you? And then you've got to pick the bones of it, which is all I seem to be getting at the moment is the rubbish results. So hopefully by the time the domestic season runs around, we'll be up and running, and at least with so many different fans of different clubs, someone will be happy. That's the main thing. So today we've all got to share disappointment. We'll jump straight in. Scotland are out. We've fallen. We got to the final hurdle, but we fell sort of with a whimper really in the end, losing the game 1-0 to Hungary. We'll go straight to that game first, and we'll look back at Switzerland as well a little bit. But just sort of thoughts on the Hungary game. We'll break down some of it as well. But what's your overriding feeling? Just on the your straight up reaction of losing 1-0 and going out like that.
I think I lost 10 years off my lifespan watching the game, to be honest. Oh, it was dire on it. The full time, my heart was in my mouth. I was shaking like a leaf, sitting in the local with my mates to try and watch it. I couldn't. Half the time I had to sit with my head in my hands, terrified. As soon as I give myself a wee bit of, well, at least it's a draw, the other results might go our favour. Then that, was it not like the 100th minute or something like that? The goal ended up getting scored in. Absolute sucker punch, man. I shouldn't have a bothered watching now.
That's
me is out the pram.
It's always the problem, isn't it, Paul? It's we have to do it. We always have to. It's either all glory and it's not much glory, but it's either we're in the qualifiers, we're beating Spain and we're raising this hope and expectation and we're playing some beautiful stuff, and then the flip side of it is you look at the two defeats in this a 5-1 hammering and a red card and just everything that went wrong and then Hungary game where they said maybe for the first time ever 2 points might even get you through, and we can't even hold on to that point, and we had to go for it at the end. But it was like Jenna said, just an absolute sucker punch, a proper kick, wasn't it?
It just reminds me of the last time in '98 when we had the same opportunity, played Morocco, I think it was, and get beat 3-0. Me being old enough, I was out that night back out in a CU Jimmy hat on, but my last memory is the CU Jimmy hat flying down a puddle as I get in the taxi to go home. So I felt it all before, and no doubt I'll feel it again. So
you just give me a massive nostalgia kickback there as well, because I just remember Mustafa Hadji and Youssef Chipo just tearing us to pieces in that game as well, and both ended up at Coventry, I think it was, wasn't it? It's so hard to go back over this because I put the disappointment to the side. We're recording it sort of a day later, so put the disappointment to the side for a little bit, and then I've had to watch it back, unfortunately, which I'm hoping I'm not going to have to do too many of these because I got lumbered with the Germany one as well. We didn't do one for Switzerland, so we're going to mix a little bit of that in. Jenna, we line up as always that sort of 5-4-1 or 3-5-2, however you want to call it. Were you surprised at anything there? I mean, some of the force changes, obviously McKenna had to not the back three had to change, didn't it, slightly. We persisted with Ralston at right back and Robertson at left back. The midfield of Gilmore and McGregor, McGinn, forgetting it all myself now, Shea Adams up top. Were there any surprises there for you? Did you expect that he was going to change it or hope he was going to change it? And if so, what were you hoping for?
Realistically, I knew he probably wasn't going to change it, but I was hoping like anything Ralston was going to get dropped. I'm sorry, I just don't rate him at all in a Scotland jersey. He's been an absolute bombshell this full tournament. I was hoping we would have brought in James Forrest just to try and change things up a bit, see if we could press more up front, but nah. I'm badly disappointed still. The dummy is still at the pram.
Just on Ralston, then there, Paul. He's being asked to play right wing back. It's not right back. He's if you put him in the back four and you ask him to defend, I think he can do that. You're putting him right wing back in a five. You're asking him to progress the ball up the pitch, progress the team up the pitch. Be a part of a squad that doesn't dominate possession like Celtic do. As much as he's made a mistake and he's looked uncomfortable, the blame can't solely lie at his door when, like Jenna said, there's a chance to put someone like James Forrest there. And I just did you find that a bit strange at all that he just stuck with Ralston for the 3 games and didn't even attempt to change it?
I did think that because McCrory as well on the bench that they could have gave a shot as well in that position, but he's quite loyal to his players, isn't he? Steve Clarke is known for that, so he's obviously stuck with him. But I think in the Germany game, I think he was turning inside quite a lot instead of just playing the ball down the line. Even if you can't get up the line, just play it down the line. You know what I mean? He just isn't used to that position, I don't think.
No, I think it's a fair point. I think it seemed to me as well, Jenna, a little bit like he, when he lost the ball a couple of times, we made a couple of mistakes. He done that thing that I find that I've done in Sunday League football, where it's like you want to prove that mistake isn't you as a person. Like you're a good footballer, right? So instead of the next time you get the ball, you don't play a simple pass. You come inside, you try and run, you try and spend some time on the ball to get that confidence up, and it wasn't working for him at all, was it? And in the end, much like a lot of positions, we could look up front as well in Shea Adams, who didn't really tear any trees up this tournament. Shanklin getting very few minutes, but when he come on, he looked a bit of a handful, and it just feels like a bit of a chance missed.
No, definitely. The full tournament feels as if it's been a chance missed, to be honest, as you were saying. Shanklin barely made a dent in the squad. Ross McCrory, he was on the bench. Forrest, he had the chance to change things up. Steve Clarke is a loyal manager, which is a good thing, but it's not a good thing when you're choosing loyalty over progression for the squad, and I feel as if that's what he did with Ralston.
Absolutely, I think it's a great point. Great point. So just on the game itself then, Paul, the first half, we dominated possession. The stats went up at one stage. I think we had 77% possession at something, but we became the second team in the tournament not to register a single shot in 45 minutes. The other team, of course, being Scotland as well, where we did it against Germany. So, a horrible record to have. It seemed Hungary were happy to let us play with it. And although we were knocking it about nicely and we seemed to be pressing to get the ball back, but we were almost turning down opportunities to take a risk and get in behind or have one of those pot shots from distance and maybe someone like Shea Adams can follow up. Could you understand the game plan behind this? Do you think it was keep ball and shut up shop early and then everything was going to be gung-ho at the end?
Yeah, I didn't understand the way that it sat in, to start with. I'd have thought maybe like a surprise 4-3-3 or something like that, because Shea Adams plays in the top 3 with Southampton, scored 16 goals last season. So, he's used to playing in a 3. Lewis Morgan been doing well in the MLS. And Forrest, he's a consummate professional as well. Sets up loads of goals. So, he could have got a shot on the wing, trying to create something, I'd have thought. But it just obviously had his game plan and that never worked at all. So,
yeah, same sort of question to you, Jenna. I'll bring it over to you. I know you've sort of made some of your feelings known already, but could you? Was there any method to the madness for you as well, or it felt like, and we have the hindsight at the end of the game. It felt a bit like let's not lose the game, and at the end we sort of see where we are.
We just failed to take on any chances at actually scoring a goal. Like, I can't remember what player it was, but I seen the clip back on Twitter the other day. I think it was yesterday. It was like the player, he was too happy to dive and try to get his penalty instead of trying to have a go at goal. And it's like, why on earth would you go down for that and not at least have a shot on target? Maybe try and redeem our reputation just this tiniest wee bit. If you could at least see, well, we've got at least one shot on target this full game this time compared to Germany. Honestly, I hate being negative about the national team. I love them to bits, but embarrassed just isn't the word. It's beyond that at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, so let's segue straight over to it then, Paul. One of the big talking points of the game, and listen, it wouldn't have made up for a performance or, you know, the choices of substitutions, which we're going to come to. But, I mean, you can expand on it as well, but quickly, I mean, it was a stonewall penalty, wasn't it, on Armstrong?
Yeah, well, I'd have said so, because the guy had his arm round about his waist, so, you know, but the thing is, the ref decided against it, but I think that the game had put the VAR officials to sleep, to be honest, because they should have second checked it and they never. And then also for the Hungary goal, we looked maybe like a toe or something offside, maybe grasping at straws, but again, there was no second check with that. So.
Yeah, it was. Listen, I was hoping a bit in vain. I think that I thought the pass for the Hungary goal looked offside as well, and I didn't really get to see that automated system they bring up usually. So, I think at that stage I was ready to accept defeat. I think so. It didn't make too much of a difference. I don't think 2 points will be enough to go through. We'll probably find out it is now, but I don't think it'll be enough to go through. Same question to you, Jenna. As you know, I think one of my friends had texted me at the time because he was sort of, you know, you're letting your bias get in the way. It's not a penalty. You know, Armstrong's pulling him, but when you see the replay before any pull of the jersey, Armstrong's calf is caught by the Hungary player.
Oh, definitely. It's a stonewall penalty every single day of the week. Did they ever come out and say why they didn't check it? Because normally they have been quite good with VAR lately at the Euros, where they'll say why things weren't checked or why something was checked. Did anyone come out and say why, or has it just been left?
I haven't seen anything on it. I know.
Goes from bad to worse.
I know. Steve Clarke wasn't too happy with the nationality, it seemed, of the referee, but I believe the VAR was Spanish, so. At least he was European for Steve Clarke, but yeah, apparently it was on him. He didn't check it, or he did check. I assume they checked it, and he's just how many looks they've had at it. Probably not a lot from what we can see, because the play moved on pretty quickly. We didn't even get like the ref stopping the game a little bit, did we? To just at least hear it out and see if there was anything to look at. Which, listen, it could be a different game if you get that penalty. It would have made up for the performance, I guess, but it was more of the. It was more the same for us in that it felt like we needed a bit of a miracle pull from somewhere, and that penalty probably would have been it. Obviously, you still have to score it, of course, and then you have to hold out because you know Hungary are going to come onto you. But it felt, for me anyway, and I don't know how you felt, that when that penalty wasn't given, that was the chance, and it's sort of gone then.
Yeah, I think that was the only chance that we created the whole game, more or less. So, yeah, I pretty much agree with you on that one, definitely. But, I mean, go back to the second check thing. I'm just watching the Holland game there, and, you know, the VAR officials are second checking just about everything and that. So, yeah. I don't understand why they haven't checked any of ours. But
yes,
level VAR checks in the Euros for that game.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because I just watched the Netherlands game as well a little bit, and I've seen he went over to his monitor for the Depay goal, and I've not even seen one go over the monitor once for us. Oh no, Porteous, but I think he barely looked at it. Did he? It was pretty obvious what had happened there. But yeah, strange that they didn't even let the ref have a second look at it. Obviously, there was a bit of a sad moment in the game as well, Jenna, where I think it's Vargas gets sort of clattered in the box, complete accidental. Sheets come up and you're fearing the worst. Thankfully, he's okay. He's in stable condition as well. So obviously, all our best to him. Hungary, as the game is wearing on, we're sort of approaching stoppage time. The game is sort of gone past in, I'd say, a blink of an eye. I know we were all sort of bored of probably watching it with the style of football, but before you knew it, it was hitting those 90 minutes, and all of a sudden it became a bit real that we have to score a goal here. And it seemed as we made the changes, and I'm going to come to them in 2 seconds, we've made these changes to go for it. And Hungary, it felt, got about 3 or 4 chances in a 2-minute period where they could have put us out of sight probably. And, you know, I was struggling because we couldn't get up the pitch. And I was thinking at this point, we're just waiting to get beat.
Well, that's definitely how it felt. Like we did have a couple of attempts to try and make chances not long before the 90th minute mark. But as you were saying, like, we left it too late to make changes. I've said that this full time that we've been in the Euros is that we're waiting far too long to try and make a difference. The fact that Billy Gilmour was left out for the first game, that one still sticks out to me this day. I still think that was ludicrous. Shankland coming on, I think it was Germany as well, with like 2 minutes to go. That the Swiss game, it's like, why bring them in the first place then? Why bring the players if we're not going to give them a chance? I know Shankland's realistically probably third choice striker, but he's there for a reason. Lyndon Dykes is out. Shea Adams, he can run up the length of his pitch, but if he's too tired to carry on, you need Shankland to be fit and ready to go. You need to have that trust in him. He'll put a shift in, and to get that trust, you need him to come on the pitch and get minutes, and he's not getting it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, it was Barnabas Varga, not Vargas. My mistake there for Hungary. Yeah, Paul, it's the Shankland conundrum continues to rumble on. There's a lot of talk and a lot of opinion on whether Shankland's good enough at national level. But like Jenna said, if you're putting him on the plane and it's not worked with Shea Adams so far, and I can understand Shea Adams even starting these games, but Hungary make, and obviously one of them is forced, but Hungary make 3 substitutions before we make our first substitution, and that first substitution comes with 14 minutes to go, hardly any time left in the game, and it's not even let's put Shankland on with Shea Adams to go and win it. It's let's take Shea Adams off and put Lawrence Shankland on, and then it just seemed that we still continue to do. Let's just play like Lyndon Dykes is up there anyway.
No, it's right enough. I mean, when Steve Clarke was commandant manager, it was against bringing subs on early as well for some reason. I don't know if it's just a loyalty to his players, maybe or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, could have done an actual change of formation, and a couple of new faces on the park. I'd said maybe 70 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. Obviously, yourself being a Kilmarnock fan, witnessing Steve Clarke, who I mean, let's be fair, worked wonders with Kilmarnock in terms of league position and what he achieved there. Are you seeing the same Steve Clarke for Scotland that you're seeing for Kilmarnock? Very rigid formation, not changing, not willing to change, I guess. Yeah,
it was similar football, but I think there was more of a change in tactics to let wingers into the game. Whereas we haven't seen that in any of the Euros games at all. But it was a good manager for us, and he did well to get us to the Euros, obviously. But I think he's got to hold his hands up and say that his decisions, I don't think, have been good enough over the Euros. But
no, definitely not. I mean, I don't want to spend the whole pod just bashing Steve Clarke, because we will come to the big question at the end as well, and see how the panel where their thoughts are on it. But just on the subs then, Jenna, we make all 5 subs in the end. Obviously Armstrong and Shankland come on with 14 minutes to go. Sort of 7 minutes later, Ryan Christie and Kenny McLean come on for Billy Gilmour, which was a bit of a surprise. I don't think Gilmour had a fantastic game, but you needing a goal. You think a creative sort of player, guy could pick a pass from down the pitch. But Ralston comes off. Jack Hendry seems to move out to the right. I didn't know if we were still playing the 5 at the back at this point. I don't know what was happening. Robertson comes off with a minute to go. He obviously picked up a niggle, but again, then Lewis Morgan comes on the pitch and goes left back. And by the end, I genuinely couldn't work out who was playing where and what we were attempting to do. So I don't know how the players were trying to figure it out.
No, I had the exact same problem, but I was blaming it on the fact I was watching it and the boys was with far too many pints. So at least I know it wasn't just my own judgment that struggled with that one. But honestly, you're right. It didn't just feel as if it was a case of, right, just come on and see what happens. We'll just throw everything at them. Just go play. And it wasn't actually fully thought through. I mean, if we can't even distinguish who's playing in what roles in the team, how are players meant to insult them to the players to bring them on with 2 minutes to go? Because at that point, you're saying, yeah, we didn't trust you when we actually needed you like 25 minutes ago, but you're here now. Prove yourself now. We've got no chance.
Yeah, it's certainly a last chance, Luna. I've got another correction to make there as well. I read the sub and missed up the position. It was Lewis Morgan come on for Robertson, but it was Kenny McLean who went in at left back, which was probably even more baffling because it's a left wing back and you think Lewis Morgan would probably be the better one to go up and down there, Paul. It just felt, wow, it just felt it was just let's just throw everything at the wall and just hope something sticks. Maybe we get a moment, and we almost do get a moment. And I know it's called back for a foul, but maybe VAR would have had a look. We don't know. It was just a shame that moment seemed to fall to Grant Hanley, of all people. And it was a decent strike. It was a good save in the end. Unfortunately for us, though, it doesn't count as a shot on target because it was pulled back for the foul. It means it wasn't another shot on target. So we finished with like a record low shots on target as well, just to rub salt in the wound. When that Hanley chance comes and goes, you're almost feeling now, it's draw or loss at this point. And to be honest, although draw faintly keeps the hopes alive, there wasn't much difference for me at that point. I don't think 2 points would let us go through. As I said before, it felt over once that Hanley chance had gone.
Definitely. I mean, I think, there's a number of players getting a call up for the Euros that weren't expecting it. So they'd be buzzing, Their confidence would be really high. So I don't understand after the Germany game why we didn't see any of them, really, to be honest. Because obviously the players that took a bashing in the Germany game, I don't think their confidence would have been great going into the Switzerland game. So that'd been the time to maybe change it, but then we never done that. So. And as you say, I mean, why are they on the plane? If they're not going to be trusted to do a job on the park. So.
Absolutely. And Jenna, we'll slightly slide over to the Switzerland game because it was a bit more positive. So it's weird to sort of go backwards into the positive because then we're going to come back out into the negative, I guess. But the Switzerland game, it looked to me like a team that was up for it. That a bit more like the Scotland we've seen before this bad run had started. We get a bit of fortune, I think, with the goal in terms of it takes a wicked deflection. I think, by the way, the Euro, I don't know why, but I think the Euros goal dubious panel, whatever, I think their rule works slightly different to everyone else. So the rule is if it's on target, doesn't matter if deflection, it's that player's goal. I see them ruled it out as an own goal at one stage. So I don't know if that's going to actually go down as McTominay's or not. I hope it does, because it'd be even worse if we don't even get one of our own goals at the Euros. But I just remember being in the pub when that goes in, Jenna, and it gave us that moment, that moment we all wanted at the Euros, going ahead. I was in this pub watching it with Scottish darts player John Henderson as well, and just everyone's going crazy, and it was such a good moment for us. Obviously, it all comes crashing down at the end, but we did get that moment, and it was huge, and everything felt like, do you know what? This is still on for us. We can still do this.
No, definitely. I was absolutely buzzed. I actually had the hope. I didn't expect us to get a result against Germany, so I didn't expect it to be 5-1 either, don't get me wrong, but I was thinking, right, take whatever happens to Germany on the chin. Switzerland's a real game we need to prepare for. This is something we can realistically get something from. Same with Hungary. Fair enough, the draw, you take it, looking back in hindsight. But at the same time, though, the rush of going ahead and it just getting ripped apart from us, we bottled it. That's the only way to describe it, is we bottled it.
Yeah, and I want to talk to that, and I know you guys, it's going to be a little bit hard to cast your minds back too much to the exact way the equaliser goes in, Paul. And I'm not using it to stick too much blame on Tony Ralston, because we obviously have spoken about him a little bit. It's a ball, I think, is it from Hanley or Hendry? I think it might be Hanley, sort of fires this ball in. It's not a nice ball into Billy Gilmore, to be honest. Billy Gilmore sort of lays it off to Ralston. Ralston didn't really look like he wanted the ball. Sort of first time, I think he's gone back to just play safe to the keeper. He's underhit this ball. He's very unlucky in the fact that of all the people it falls to, it's Shaqiri, who, instead of taking this ball on for a one-on-one, just absolutely rattles it in the top corner from where he is, which was unbelievable, by the way. I couldn't believe when he struck it first time, I thought we've got away with one there, and then it absolutely nestles in the top corner. So just our luck there. What was your opinion? Obviously, Ralston's going to get the firing line for the final pass. Do you think he was not helped by the passing for Billy Gilmore? I mean, when I watched it back, again, it's maybe club football to international football. I'm expecting Billy Gilmore to Billy Gilmore's never going to fire a ball up the pitches. He's always going to look for his own team. He's going to try and make us keep possession, recycle possession. Do you think that there's too much blame to lie on Ralston only, or do you think it can be spread out? What was your sort of opinion on it?
No, I think the whole tournament we passed the ball back far too many times, and if if it was me and I had anything to do with FIFA, I would ban passing the ball back out of football because it's so negative. But when Gilman really shouldn't be passing back, I don't think. But when Ralston gets it, he should be taking a touch and firing it up the line, or even just first time, just get it up the line. Because when we used to play football, the manager would say, like, play in the other team's half, don't play in your own half. And I don't think there's enough teams think that way anymore. So put yourself under far too much danger. But it was a really precise finish. It was an amazing finish from Shaqiri because he had really little to aim at, and he put it in. So hats off to him for that.
Yeah, Jen, it was. It's quite funny because Switzerland, we're sort of their bogey team, I guess. I think I saw the stat that we're like unbeaten against them. Obviously, our last Euro win in the finals was against them. The McCoist goal. It really felt like this. It was almost coming full circle. You know, the win that gets us back on board is the last team it came against, and everything seemed like it was going to fall into place until that moment. I think Paul raised a good point. You know, you can look at other parts to blame. And listen, if it's not all on Ralston, if Steve Clarke's saying don't fire this ball, don't clear balls down the line, make sure you keep in possession, always look for the pass no matter what. It's not his fault if he's following his managerial instruction. But it does feel like if you're under pressure, just batter that ball away anywhere. It felt getting to halftime at 1-0 was key to that match.
No, definitely. And if he has been instructed to try to keep possession at all costs, fair enough. But as the public, we don't know that for definite. And I'd like to think anyway, if we had done the right thing and tried to boot it up the park and it actually worked in our favour, Steve Clarke would be more than happy to forgive him for it if it could have led to us potentially getting another goal. You can play the what-if game all day long, but with things like that, he's not fully blamed, as you were saying. The pass to Gilmore was shocking, but Ralston's let us down the full tournament. So that can't be overlooked either, if you ask me personally. Again, he's good for Celtic. I won't discredit Celtic here, but get him out of a Scotland jersey, please. My blood pressure can't take it.
Yes, it is an interesting one, Paul. Let's say that listen, he's not asked to be put in that position. You're going to stand up for your country, of course. We'd expect no better. And I don't think that Ralston gave anything less than 100% of what he could give. I think he's been played out of position. I don't think he's been helped by the formation. I don't think a lot of players have been helped by the formation because it's starting to really feel with Steve Clarke. And listen, I'm not going to blame it forever because it's not clearly for years. This has worked and it's brought us very good results and very good performances. We touched on the last pod. The Spain game was ridiculous. The level we were playing at. It's somehow the longer we are playing it, and I know we've had to have injuries and players have had to come in, but the longer we're playing this way, it's almost the more it's feeling like square pegs and round holes. Like the players don't look like they can play this formation anymore. Can you fathom what's gone wrong? Have we just been worked out? Is it just the injuries? What's your sort of thoughts on it?
I think going into the tournament with that amount of injuries to key players was a bad start, obviously. But I mean, it's as if they forgot how to attack. Really, just played in the middle of the park. So I don't know if that is the only things that the methods are practicing in the training and anything like that, or they're actually practicing any attacking moves, because we seem to have forgot how to do that.
Yeah, Jenna, I mean, looking ahead now, obviously the party is over for us, which we were speaking backstage just now and saying I thought I was just loving football in general, to be honest, when every game I've been watching, I'm working, I'm watching the Euros, and I finish work and I'm watching the Euros, and I'm in the evening, I'm watching the Euros, and I'm loving it. We've gone out and I just can't even watch a game at the moment. I can't be bothered at all. So for me, it's the Andy Murray conundrum. I see it. As soon as Andy Murray goes out of a tournament, I don't care. I don't want to watch it anymore. I'm forgetting this with Scotland in the Euros. Hopefully I get it back because it has been a great tournament. But looking forward for Scotland, we've obviously got the Nations League coming up. That's the next sort of, bulk of fixtures. Steve Clarke, again, this is where you have to praise him because not only did we get to European Championships, we also got promoted into the top division of the Nations League. When you're looking at teams like England, who have now dropped below us in the Nation League, they're going to be in the League B or whatever it is, which is always good. It's fantastic. And listen, before the Euros and before the format, I'd looked at the Nations League group and I'd said, do you know what? It's not too bad. Poland, Croatia, and Portugal for that level of what you're expecting, the top level. France, Germany, Spain. You could have got all of these teams in one group, and we haven't. But now looking at it on the run of form we're in, it's looking like 6 very difficult fixtures for Steve Clarke, and obviously we're one win in 12, 1 win in 13 maybe. It's not really what you want coming up, is it?
It feels like a fluke that we got there now. When you hear stats like that compared to the way that we were playing, I'm terrified for the Nations League now. If things continue the way they are, they're going to pick us apart and eat us alive, especially if we're playing against Portugal with like Ronaldo or anything like that. I got tickets to the Poland game. I'll go to the game happily, but I'll be standing there, hands over my eyes, I think, if things continue the way they are, absolutely dreading it, because something has to change. If it's the formation, we usually play that just so we can get Robo and Kieran Tierney in the same squad, fair enough. Look like Kieran Tierney can't play more than 2 or 3 games back-to-back without getting an injury, it feels like. So we need to learn how to switch things up. We need to have players that are confident and made it for these Nation League games, because you don't know who's going to be available at that time. Club football's back when Nation League comes back around. That can play a big part in things. Players are playing every week. They can get injured easily. We need to have more confident players, and we need to have our manager confident in our fringe players. I just don't think he is.
Yeah, it's a great point, Paul, really. I mean, where's your mindset at going into this Nations League? And could you see a formation change coming in? And because even the 4 at the back's not just playing a right back and a left back, it's obviously then maybe getting the best out of Callum McGregor, like you see him for Celtic, or getting the best out of John McGinn on the turn. I know that's a lot of the Dykes, because Dykes does help with the way John McGinn plays, but John McGinn also plays for Aston Villa and he does very well there. We've really got to find a way, just like we found a way to get Tierney and Robertson in the same team. We've got to find a way to start getting the best out of these very talented players.
As I said, when Steve Clarke was at Kilmarnock, he used to change it to 4-3-3 regular thing games to get the wingers in, and I really think that's maybe the way we should go. Because during that tournament, I mean, I know in Euro 2020, I don't think we scored any goals, did we, in the tournament?
I think we got 1, didn't we? Because
it was like one Callum McGregor one at the very last game, but I think that was about it.
So, on the positive, we've got 1 more, albeit 2 own goals. But no, they need to rediscover their bravery from somewhere that they had during the Spain games. I mean, it just didn't seem to be there. And, I mean, players, a lot of them weren't even given over 100%, I would have thought. Some of them maybe not even 80%. So that's what it seemed like. So we just need to get back that effort and the bravery that we had then.
Yep. Jenna, moving on to Steve Clarke himself. Listen, he's like I've said before, you can't deny what he's brought to this nation in terms of picking us up from where we were, and it's 2 European Championships. People might say one was through the back door of the Nations League. Listen, it might not have existed before. It does exist now. You still have to go there, and you still have to do it. And we did do that, and we obviously the Serbia result. When you look at the squad they have, that was a tremendous result. So I don't think you can sort of discredit that achievement of getting to the last Euros just because of that. We're at the Euros again this year. We're in the Nations League, the top division. The argument, the argument is that Steve Clarke does have plenty of credit in the bank. Where are you sitting on him? Do you feel that he's maybe took this team as far as he can go, which is to the new another level, but is it as far as Steve Clarke can physically take them?
Before the tournament, I would have laughed at the thought of getting rid of Steve Clarke. Now this has happened. When you look at the stats, if he was a club manager, the writing would be on the wall. We'd be signing the P45 slip for him. But the way I look at it is how I look at things with Stephen Robinson with Motherwell when he left. He got us to 2 back-to-back cup finals in 1 season, brought us back into Europe, made a fortune off David Turnbull as well, brought in a lot of good players through the youth system, sold them on, not just Turnbull, James Scott as well. They're brilliant, but you get stale. And I feel as if that's what's happened with Scotland. It's gotten stale. Our teams have figured us out. You do need a change. And it is just unfortunate that change might be Steve Clarke departing. However, if you want to have the argument of David Moyes or even someone else, I think it's valid. However, at the same time, I would be a bit cautious about it because, as you said, he's done so well for us. Is the grass always greener on the other side? Look at what happened to us. We got rid of Stephen Robinson. He left the club. Brought in Graham Alexander. We will not discuss Sligo. I'm still hurting 2 3 years later. You don't want a repeat of a Scotland version of Sligo.
No, it's a really good point. To be fair, it's a really good point, Paul. I mean, I'm really keen to get your thoughts on Steve Clarke and where you see his future. Obviously, you've experienced Steve Clarke as Kilmarnock manager. I don't know if you've got any other thoughts that come in that maybe if Steve Clarke goes, your current manager might also be departing for Scotland. So I don't know if you've got a bit of loyalty there that you wouldn't want Clarke to go because you don't want McInnes to go. Where's your sort of thoughts at?
No, I would think if MD experience would probably Moyes, I think, but I don't know. I mean, you could go back and totally. I mean, all the stuff's data led, most of picking the teams and all that now. So they could go back and flip the coin, bring out another formation, and we could start winning games again. And they could get the bravery back. All the stuff that got us through the Euros qualifiers could come back, but. Could it be that he has went stale? Who knows? But I think we should maybe get a couple of games at the start just to see, how it's going, and then we can maybe call it from there.
It's a good point. It is a good point, Jenna. It's very hard I think in modern day football and social media because, listen, it's a lot of big teams fans have always been all around the globe. If you support one of the top teams in club football, you don't get long as a manager if things start turning sour. It feels like now every club is like that. Every club's fans, they could be the middle of the road in Championship, Scottish Championship. If its results start going sour, they're starting to call for the manager's head a bit earlier now. Steve Clarke, we were 1 in 10 losses. I think one loss from 10 games before the one win in 12. So we don't do things by halves, obviously. In terms of the Euros coming up, is it a catch-22? Do you think if we got a new manager in, it's a baptism of fire? We could get off to a really poor start, and the manager then Moyes or McInnes or whoever else could be under real not pressure, but it's then harder to do what you want to do because you've got such tough games coming up. Alternatively, do you give Steve Clarke the Euros? What if he gets the Nations League? Then he gets a couple of results because of playing bigger teams and might suit the tactic a little bit more. Then you've got to give Clarke longer. What would you think? Is it pull the Band-Aid off now and get it over and done with? Like, where are you? If you had to decide tonight, Clarke stays or goes, where are you going? Yes or no?
You're a cruel man, Stu. You're a cruel man. Does that make me decide this one? Honestly, I don't know. I'd be up all night discussing it. That's the honest answer. Then if I'm deciding Clarke's fate tonight, I'm not sleeping tonight. Trying to stay up to figure this out. Because as I said, we witnessed it firsthand. The grass isn't always greener. Look what happened with Graham Alexander and then Stephen Hamill as well. Brought him in, good couple of results, and then downhill quicker than you can even say the word downhill. If he brought someone in, I was looking to try to see if we at least had a couple of friendlies before the Nations League. We don't. First game's 5th of September. It's at Hampden, luckily. I don't know. I'm in two ways about it. I want to give him the chance, see if he does change formations and see if people come back from injury and just put it down to bad luck. But again, it's 1 in 12. That's not just, we did bad at the Euros. It's a bit too soon. Can you put him in gardening and leave? Maybe not sack him, but maybe put him on probation again, re-performance review. But I don't know. I don't want to come out either way because my head's spiraling with it. I can't do it. I just can't decide.
What about you, Paul? Are you going to sit on the fence like Jenna, or can you leap off and go one way or the other for me?
Well, if anybody, I think Moyes would be the kind of outstanding candidate for me with his experience abroad and stuff. And he's also won the cup with West Ham, the European Cup. UEFA. What was it?
Was it Conference?
UEFA Conference League. He won that with West Ham. So he would be the ideal choice for me. But I mean, with Steve Clarke, I mean, he's done really well for us, getting us through the qualifiers and everything as well. So again, you've got to have that hat on and just remember how we played during that time. But he's got to be more expansive. He's got to change the way we play when he comes back to have any chance of staying, I would say. So I give him a couple of games, see how it goes.
I think it's a fair point. It is a fair point. You've both sort of raised, coming down to it, is the grass going to be greener? We don't know. Eventually, you have to try, you have to see, but maybe it's not the time just yet. Jenna, you just mentioned there, I didn't even realise when I've just looked at the Nations League as well that it's literally 2 games September, 2 games October, 2 games November. So there's no chance with the club football coming back you're gonna get any games friendly games in. It's are you is there anything you're hoping to see going forward? Is the first thing a formation change? Would that make you feel better, or maybe just having the availability of players again?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest, because we don't really need to focus so much on changing the formation if we get everyone back to full fitness. If we get Kieran Tierney back, if we get Lyndon Dykes back, that's our main concerns for me personally. I don't know about the rest of the guys, but those are the 2 ones I'm dying to see back because those are some of our strongest players in that Scotland team. Without that, because we haven't had them, that's why we've been considering changing the formation. It kind of goes hand in hand, but at the same time, there's a reason why it's not worked, even out with people being injured. We have gotten a bit stale. I wouldn't mind a formation change. Ideally, we'd have at least 1 or 2 friendlies. You can play by the formation a bit, see what happens, even change squad. Try bringing some of the more fringe players for Scotland and see how they get on, test them a bit. I said this, I think it was in the last podcast, about the likes of the 3 keepers. Liam Kelly's not going to sniff at the goalie gloves for Scotland. Fair enough, Craig Gordon, that's a bit iffy if he's going to come back for Scotland or not. Angus Gunn, fair enough, he did his best, don't get me wrong. And again, Steve Clarke, he's not really getting a chance either. You need to have faith in your French players and you need to start giving them games. And if a couple of friendlies would have been perfect for us, I still think we should have done that in the friendlies before the Euros, but we didn't. And now I feel as if we're paying the price for it, because ideally we'd have that. You can play about with it there, it's a friendly, who cares? And then we know better going into the Nations League. But I mean, as you say, it's 2 games a month. It's not even as if we've got the benefit of, we play a couple in September, then we don't play till January, something like that. It's back to back, and to put it frank, I'm absolutely scared out my brains for
it. Just sort of bringing things to a close then, Paul. In terms of the future, and obviously I've asked Jenna there, maybe change formation, players coming back, but also, maybe looking into the future of the team in terms of new players coming in. Obviously, Shankland has started to get games there. If Steve Clarke can play this team into a 4-3-3, we're going to need wide players. Your very own Danny Armstrong could be looking in, getting a sniff there. We've also got the future of, the perfect 2 fans to have on, by the way, because Lennon Miller and David Watson literally can be the future of the Scottish midfield. There's a lot of excitement coming through, isn't there?
Definitely. We've got to start blooding some of these players. But I think Steve Clarke's jacket's definitely in a sugary peg, as you say. But for that, the Euro squad, we were selecting players basically that. Hanley only played something like 7 games with Norwich last season. So, and I don't even think he was fully fit going into that tournament. That's why he never played in the Germany game. So, players like that, they're carrying injuries, and like Tierney and that, they're always injured. They're made of glass, seemingly. So, we've got to blood these reserve players through and start giving them a chance for, as you say, the future. Maybe even putting Lennon Miller in, and along with McGregor, just to give them a bit of experience, Watson and all. Just put one in here and there, give them experience, because they need to be blooded.
Absolutely. Wow, so it's a perfect way of listening. I know it wasn't the most positive podcast, but I think we will call it a day there. The party is over for us, as I've mentioned before, but it's just getting started here on Salmon's Pizzeria. We've got plenty to look forward to. We've obviously got pre-seasons now starting with the club, so we'll do some transfer roundups. Obviously, we'll get the guys on from each club where we can. We've got interviews coming out. We won't say who just yet, but there's also Ian Crocker that you can also go back and check on that Alex did, which is a superb interview. So you should go and listen to that wherever you get your podcasts, also on YouTube. But for now, it is unfortunately that the party is over, and we just had to endure the likes of Musiala and Xhaka and Sosbolai. But don't worry, because just around the corner we've got the Nations League, and it's only Ronaldo and Modric and Lewandowski. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time, guys.